The crying baby on the subway. The morning rush hour subway car hummed with the familiar rhythm of city life. Passengers swayed gently as the train moved through the underground tunnels, most absorbed in their phones or lost in their own thoughts. The metallic screech of brakes and the distant rumble of passing trains created a symphony that New Yorkers knew by heart. In the center of the car sat Victoria Harrison, her blonde hair perfectly styled despite the early hour. Her cream-colored blazer was immaculate, and her designer handbag rested carefully beside her. She held her 6-month-old daughter, Emma, close to her chest. The baby wore a soft pink outfit that probably cost more than most people's weekly groceries, but something was wrong. Emma had been crying for the past 10 minutes, her small face red and scrunched with distress. Victoria rocked her gently, whispering soothing words that seemed to fall on deaf ears. The baby's wails grew louder, piercing through the steady noise of the subway car. Victoria felt the weight of dozens of eyes upon her. Some passengers shot disapproving glances, others looked sympathetic but helpless. A few moved to different parts of the car, seeking escape from the sound. Victoria's cheeks flushed with embarrassment as she tried everything she could think of, bouncing Emma softly, checking her diaper, offering a pacifier that the baby immediately rejected. "Please, sweetheart," Victoria murmured, her voice barely audible over Emma's cries. "Mommy's here. Everything's okay." But Emma continued to cry, her tiny fists waving in the air as if reaching for something her mother couldn't provide. 3 seats away, Marcus Thompson watched the scene unfold. He was a different kind of passenger, work boots scuffed from construction sites, jeans worn from honest labor, and a flannel shirt that had seen better days. His weathered hands held a thermos of coffee that had long since gone cold. Beside him sat his 4-year-old daughter Zoe, her backpack decorated with cartoon characters and her hair in slightly uneven pigtails that Marcus had attempted that morning. Zoe tugged on her father's sleeve. "Daddy, why is the baby so sad?" Marcus looked at his daughter, then back at the struggling mother across the car. He recognized something in Victoria's expression, the helpless frustration of a parent who had tried everything and was running out of options. He had worn that same look many times during Zoe's difficult nights when she was a baby. The crying continued, growing more desperate by the minute. Other passengers began to shift uncomfortably, some putting in earbuds, others checking their phones more intently to avoid the scene. Victoria's composure was beginning to crack. Her hands trembled slightly as she continued to rock Emma, and tears of frustration began to gather in her eyes. Marcus made a decision. He stood up slowly, his tall frame unfolding from the subway seat. Zoe looked up at him curiously as he made his way across the swaying car, stepping carefully around other passengers. He stopped in front of Victoria, who looked up at him with a mixture of wariness and desperation. "Excuse me," Marcus said gently, his voice deep but kind. "I don't mean to intrude, but would you mind if I tried something? I have a little girl too, and sometimes babies just need a different kind of touch." Victoria hesitated for a moment, studying this stranger's face. Something in his calm brown eyes and gentle manner made her nod. I don't know what else to do. She's been crying for so long." Marcus extended his arms carefully. "May I?" With trembling hands, Victoria passed Emma to this stranger. The moment Marcus took the baby, something remarkable happened. He didn't bounce her or rock her the way Victoria had been doing. Instead, he held Emma against his broad chest and began to sway very slowly, almost like a gentle dance. His large, calloused hand supported her tiny head, and he started humming, not a lullaby, but a low, rhythmic tune that seemed to vibrate through his chest. Within 30 seconds, Emma's crying began to soften. Within a minute, it had reduced to quiet whimpers. By the time the train reached the next stop, she had fallen completely silent. Her small body relaxed against Marcus's chest. The subway car fell into an amazed hush. Passengers who had been avoiding the scene now watched in wonder. Even the train operator seemed to slow down, as if sensing the peaceful moment that had settled over the car. Victoria stared in disbelief. What did you do?" Marcus smiled gently, continuing his slow sway. "Sometimes babies just need to feel a different kind of calm. My Zoe used to cry like this when she was little. It's not about being a better parent. Sometimes they just need something we can't give them at that moment." He looked down at Emma, who was now looking up at him with wide, curious eyes. "She's beautiful." "How old?" "6 months," Victoria whispered, still amazed by the transformation. "I'm Victoria, and this is Emma, Marcus," he replied. "And that's my daughter Zoe over there, probably wondering why her daddy is holding a strange baby." Victoria turned to see the little girl watching them with fascination. Zoe waved shyly when their eyes met. "I don't understand," Victoria said. "I've read every parenting book, hired the best nanny, bought all the recommended equipment, but you just ... held her," Marcus finished simply. "Sometimes that's all they need. Not the right technique or the perfect product, just someone who's calm and present." As the train continued through the tunnels, Marcus gently transferred Emma back to Victoria's arms. The baby remained peaceful, her tiny hand now gripping her mother's finger. Victoria looked down at her daughter with new eyes, seeing not a problem to be solved, but a little person who sometimes just needed comfort. "Thank you," Victoria said, her voice thick with emotion. I was starting to think I was failing as a mother. Marcus shook his head. Every parent feels that way sometimes. The fact that you care so much proves you're not failing. You're just learning. Like we all are. The train began to slow for the next station. Marcus glanced at the approaching platform and then back at Victoria. This is our stop, but Emma's going to be just fine. And so are you. As Marcus and Zoe gathered their things and headed toward the doors, Victoria called out, "Wait, I don't know how to thank you. Can I do something for you?" Marcus paused at the doors and smiled. Just remember this moment when you see another parent struggling. Sometimes the best thing we can do is help each other. The doors closed, and Victoria watched through the window as Marcus took Zoe's hand and disappeared into the crowd on the platform. She looked down at Emma, who was now sleeping peacefully in her arms. Tiny lips curved in what looked almost like a smile as the train continued on its journey. Victoria realized something had changed, not just in Emma, but in herself. She had learned that sometimes the most valuable wisdom comes from the most unexpected sources, and that being a good parent wasn't about having all the answers, it was about being open to help, to learning, and to the kindness of strangers who understood that we're all just doing our best. The subway car resumed its familiar rhythm. But for Victoria, the world felt a little less overwhelming and a lot more hopeful.